Welcome in, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, everybody, welcome. Thank you for coming to Baseballism Scottsdale tonight. We're really excited to have you all here, and obviously really pumped that baseball is finally back. So spring training's here, and it's the best time of year, that's for sure. And without any further ado, I know you guys know who these two are, but Ross Stripling and Cooper Surley's here from the Big Swing Podcast. So give them a warm welcome, please.
Yes. Yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out there. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we got it figured out. Thanks for hanging out. This is our first live podcast ever. We have never done anything like this. We're very excited. Thank y'all so much for coming. We have no idea what to expect. So we're gonna have Kyle Farmer, we're gonna have Alanna Rizzo come up, and then we're gonna open it up to questions from you guys. Anything is on the table except for Astros. All right, no Astros talk tonight, please. But man, we are so excited to have you guys here.
Yeah, and give it up for Baseballism. Round of applause.
Thank you.
And now pat your head and rub your belly at the same time. No one? Okay. Yeah, so we want to just kind of start off talking about the journey of the Big Swing. We started, I think, January 30th of last year, and we've had a lot of fun with it. I mean, we've had guests all the way from baseball players to decorated war veterans, and it's just been fun way for Ross and I to kind of connect and hang out during the season. So, Ross, I'll start with you. What's your favorite episode?
Yeah, good question. My favorite episode, I pretty much unanimously say Rich Hill. How many of you listened to that one? Got some hands in there. Rich just has an unbelievable story, and actually that day ended up being a very emotional one for him. He actually got hurt in that game, and after the game I came up to him and said, like, man, let's bang the podcast. We don't have to do this. And he's like, no, I want to do it. And we went to a podcast studio, and he got very emotional talking about his journey, so much, though, that we ended up cutting almost 5 minutes of Rich Hill crying. It was just very emotional, and then talking about his son and his foundation that he's made for his son. And that was my favorite, and now we've come a long way since that one. That was in, maybe like May of last year. Coop, what do you think?
Yeah, if anyone's listened to the podcast, we do the Beast of the Week, and Ross is notorious for pandering. And so I'm going to pander. I think Alanna was my favorite episode. You just kind of see, honestly, you see how much of a pro she is. I mean, it's similar and it rivals like baseball players coming from AAA or AA, single A, making it to the pros. And it's a similar journey for Alanna, starting in Wichita Falls and kind of growing. And then now to see where she is now, I think a few people out there in line talked about it and said she inspires them as a woman every day. And to see her kind of empower women and just be an absolute pro at her job is really cool to see. And then you get her in a podcast setting, and it just doesn't stop. Like, you can just keep going just like you were on the field. So I really enjoyed doing that one.
Well, one thing we want to do is certainly thank Baseballism and Ben here. I mean, my gosh, we see a bunch of Baseballism stuff out there that you guys have bought today or already had. We want to give Ben a second to just talk about what Baseballism does. They've come a long way. I first saw them in 2013 when I was at Chattanooga Lookout. They were just an online website, and now they have, I believe, 9 stores kind of nationwide. So, Ben, why don't you give them a little insight into Baseballism?
Sure, thank you. So Baseballism started back in technically 2006. Back then it was a baseball camp owned by 4 owners who were former teammates at the University of Oregon. And so youth baseball camp in the Pacific Northwest, ran that for a little while and then left the camp, disbanded it, went out and got real jobs, quote unquote, for a while, and eventually started missing the game though, and brought it all back in 2011, but did some t-shirts along with it. Like, let's try to keep this camp alive and breathing, and we'll sell them some Baseballism t-shirts. From there, you can probably kind of fill in the blanks and figure out where it went. Those t-shirts became extremely popular, and from shipping shirts out of Travis Chalk's garage, he's our CEO, then to a small storefront in Portland, launching the e-commerce website, and now 9 stores later, we're in Cooperstown and here in Scottsdale and outside of several major league ballparks and 2 new stores to open this year.
Yeah, so I've been talking back and forth with Travis on social media. I thought he was just like y'all's social media director, and then I find out he's the CEO of the whole company.
Well, Travis wears a lot of hats, so
Yeah.
he is our social media director,
Yeah.
also CEO.
Very talented.
Yeah, Baseballism's been awesome for our podcast. You hear our Baseballism question. Please go, check out their stuff, buy some stuff here. They're a really cool, tight-knit, small company, but wide-reaching. So tell us a little bit about your stores, where you're at, where they can find you.
Yeah, so like I said, first store in Cooperstown. Obviously, here in Scottsdale, this was our second door that we opened, and then in the 3 to 4 years since now, we've opened in Atlanta. This is going to test my knowledge. Atlanta, Arlington, Texas, Boston, right behind the Green Monster, Chicago, right by Wrigley Field, San Francisco, across from the main gate of now Oracle Park, and now we're going to open in Field of Dreams. Dyersville, Iowa. So the Field of Dreams movie site, it's kind of like an iconic location that baseball purists really know about. Kind of a bucket list spot. So we're building a barn there. We're going to open in March, and then we're also going to open in late March, early April in St. Louis at Ballpark Village, right outside of Busch Stadium. So,
yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, that's Baseballism. This is Ben from Baseballism.
Yep.
Ben, thank you so much for having us here, man. This is an awesome event, letting all these people come together.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the show.
All right, first we would like to bring up Alanna Rizzo, please.
Is this weird for you to be on the air, but like people staring at you?
It is kind of weird.
Welcome
I feel like
to
I'm kind
my
of like
life.
I'm like staring down here because I'm scared to make eye contact with people. I keep seeing
They're
seeing
Dodger
Clint from
fans.
Dodger Nation.
Don't-
He's got like a like a beam of light on him. I'm just looking right at him. Yeah, thank
They're
you, man.
Dodger fans.
Yeah.
They're here to
Clint's in
support
underwear for me right now. That's what's helping me through this.
All right,
So-
Alanna, yeah.
Yeah, second time swinger. How's it feel?
you. It feels great. I've never thought I wanted to be a swinger, but this is nice.
Well, you're fully a swinger, so
Yeah, great.
this is
Two
what it
times
is.
now.
Yeah.
Well, the Dodgers were one of, I believe, 2 Cactus League games that were played today. You obviously went over and man, you got, was it the whole crew? Oral, Joe, yourself?
All of us. We are televising every single spring training game on SportsNetLA this
That's
spring.
awesome.
So, yes, today was one of 30 whatever, one of probably 200 games because 162 in the regular season and, of course, all of your postseason throughout the World Series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are busy. How was it? Did you have to knock a little rust off or ready
Yeah, I
to
think
go?
it's spring training for all of us,
Yeah.
for sure. I think everybody has to exercise those muscles again. But it's so much fun to be back with Joe and Oral and our entire production crew. As you can see, a lot more goes into it when it comes to the production of things. So they're great. They're pros. They're talented. They love each other. Oral and Joe are such a good mix. I mean, Oral literally is actually twice the age of Joe, and they're BFF. And it's great, and it's good to be with those guys, and it's good to get things going.
So when we had you on the first time, you talked a lot about your footwear and how important that was on the field. The wedges were your choice.
that's-
I'm wondering how you dealt with the mud today. Was that a factor?
The mud wasn't too bad. The as much as I hate to give the Giants any sort of credit, their grounds
We don't have to
crew-
do that.
Their grounds crew was really good. They were able to put all the turfus on the infield. They had the field covered since last night, so that was fine. The infield was fine. They vacuumed out a bunch of stuff that had pools of water. They were drying the field, so it was actually okay. I thought it was ridiculous, honestly, that we were playing today, considering most of the Cactus League games were canceled. I was very nervous for any of our guys to get hurt. You don't want, your MVP slipping in the outfield and tearing an ACL.
Which MVP?
Well, the only one that played today was Cody. Tomorrow we get to see Mookie Betts, and I'm not sure when Kirsch is taking the mound for a Cactus League game. But you're right, though. We have 3. Or you guys, not me. I don't play. You guys have 3 MVPs.
No, you're the MVP. For
Alanna,
sure.
you're the real MVP.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you. Thanks, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
But no,
I'm
it
going
was
for.
it was
I appreciate
fine.
that.
Nobody got hurt. It was okay. The Dodgers won. Not that it matters, but it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, very thankful that nobody gets hurt in a game like that. I think most of us, we were sitting, I was telling people this a few minutes ago, we were sitting in the meeting this morning, it was 9 a.m., and every 5 minutes, Doc or someone was like, any updates? Are we still playing? And be like, all right, we're still playing. We just couldn't believe it. It was pouring down rain until 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I was surprised that they got it in today, but they did, and here we are.
Yeah, well, thankful no one got hurt. We were talking to Kyle Farmer, who you guys will hear from here in a bit. He wanted to know, Alanna, what is the most memorable game you've ever been a part of?
Did you really want to know that, Kyle?
Yeah,
I'm
he
gonna.
said
Literally,
it.
he asked me that. Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to cover a team that's been so good for so long. I mean, I started with the Dodgers in 2014, and you guys have gone to the, you've won the division every single year. So there's a couple of moments that have been a lot of fun. I've been fortunate enough to cover 6 no-hitters in person. 4 for the team I have covered, and 2, unfortunately, against us. So that has been really fun. Josh, in 2014 when I started, Josh Beckett's no-hitter, which was amazing because after having thoracic outlet syndrome, this guy kind of reinvented himself and ends up throwing a no-hitter in Philadelphia and was the most talkative pitcher on the planet when he's throwing a no-hitter, so that was weird. And then Kershaw did it a month later, and it could have been a perfect game had it not been for that error at third base. Do you guys remember who the third baseman was at the time? Yeah. Was he at third or was he at short?
I wasn't on the team.
Doesn't matter.
totally
No,
get
I
it.
know, but it doesn't matter. It's still an error, regardless of where he was. But anyway, so I've been fortunate to. This game has afforded me, and I would imagine you as well, and you, Kyle, too, so many opportunities to travel and go to amazing places and see so many things. And then we went to Australia in 2014 before you got there, and we played the Diamondbacks in Australia, and it counted as regular season games, even though it was in the middle of spring training. And just the travel and the people and the interviews, Ernie Banks I've been able to interview, just all of the legends that walk around our stadium, on a monthly basis or whatever with Sandy Koufax. So this job has been incredible, and I've been so fortunate to cover a team as storied as the Dodgers and as successful as the Dodgers have been.
So covering the Dodgers, how many spring trainings?
This is my 7th.
So how does this team compare?
This is the most stacked team I have ever covered in my life. Not only on the position player front, but if you look at the starting rotation and the bullpen arms, it's ridiculous. I think every year we've kind of come into spring training with perhaps a hole or two or a question mark or two, and I don't think there's any question marks this year. I think the biggest problem or the biggest question mark is where are we going to fit everybody?
Yeah.
I think obviously as talented as the offense was last year, you add a guy like Mookie Betts, who, to your point, Ross, is an MVP. Wow. And you're going to have that guy leading off, and you move Cody to center field, and you have Mookie in right, and then you have the likes of, David Price. If Blake Trinan can be where he was a couple of years ago when he was an all-star with the A's, my gosh. And, who knows what's going to happen with Brusdar Graterol, which took me 3 years to figure out how to say that name. With Brusdar, he throws 100. It's going to be fun. The biggest thing is where do we fit these guys? Obviously the 5th spot in their rotation is up for grabs. But who knows, but I've always joked with Ross that he's kind of the accordion of this team, and I'm sure you're sick of hearing, but they pull him out, they stretch him out as much as they need to, and they smash him back down when they need to too, and there's nobody in the world that handles it with more grace and more professionalism than Ross. Truly.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's funny that you bring up Graterol. He had the flu, and he was out there throwing, and all right, I got to watch this guy's bullpen. And his first throw literally looked like 30% effort, and it was 96. And I was like, dude, I haven't hit 96. I've hit 96 one time in my life. And that guy did it with the flu on his first throw. I could see when you were naming all those names, it looks like Kyle broke out in a sweat over there, a little nervous about who he's facing this year. Well, Alanna, we don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you have dinner plans. Thank you so much for coming.
Are you kicking me off the stage?
Well, no, you're welcome to keep going. I was going to see if anybody had a question.
Yeah, I actually have one more question for you,
of
though.
Course.
How many holes does a straw have? Think about it.
How many holes?
How many holes does a straw have?
I feel like this is a trick question.
I don't know if there's a right answer, but it's widely pondered.
It has 2 ends.
Oh. We haven't even talked about that.
Is it one continuous hole?
I would say 1 continuous hole, but 2 ends.
Is that the weirdest question you've ever been asked?
How does it end?
Weirdest question. I don't know, because if you take a straw and you smash it out to get it out of the paper, then it has a hole actually in the straw itself. So how delicately are you taking off the wrapper?
Man, this got really deep. How about this one? We'll just call that one a tie.
Yeah.
Muncie did this one. We got Muncie on the podcast the other day, and he said, so go get it out of the ocean, right, to Bumgarner. And I guess he had all these Giants fans come up to him and be like, that's not the ocean, so you're an idiot.
It's the
and
bay.
he was like,
it's the bay.
So where does it become an ocean? So we just argued that, no, he hit it so dang far, that was the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, geography.
Literally hit it past the bay into the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
So then Muncie went on this tangent of like, or we all kind of did.
Yeah.
Well, then a river's an ocean. We
If it connects to the...
Yeah, these are questions I have no answers to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Does
don't know.
anybody have a question for Alanna by chance? This is your chance.
Nobody? Am I that boring? Oh,
Ooh,
Shelby.
Shelbs.
Ooh. The question was,
What do I prefer to wear as flats? I mean, like tennis shoes. The wedges are great. You know, the funny pair of shoes is for Josh Beckett's and Clayton Kershaw's no-hitter. I was wearing the same pair of heels. And then they
need those.
well, they got so
that is a
trashed.
great
Somebody
image.
wear 'em.
Yeah.
They got
For
so
Alanna,
trashed
yeah.
that I
I'll
ended
wear
up
'em.
having to get rid of them. But that was funny because they were Gatorated out.
Cooper will wear
Red
'em.
Gatorated out.
Take one for the team.
Honestly, I prefer to be. Well, you guys at listening can't see, but I prefer to be super. If I could live in sweats or yoga pants every day, I would. And
Agreed.
the players are so tall that I have to wear heels. So when I'm not wearing heels, it's like when I interview Kenley, it's like, I'm not wearing heels. It's insane. Yeah, our guys are big and I'm short. I was not blessed with height. So what do I prefer? Comfort. What do I have to wear? Wedges, because then you don't sink into the warning track.
Pro tip.
The infield. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Ooh, one in the back.
Who inspired you? You had a tough job.
Who inspired me? There's a lot of women that have come before me in this industry. I think what has inspired me, the biggest support system for sure has been my mom. She never pushed me into anything, but she supported anything I wanted to do. I've always been pretty driven on my own. But there's so many women around this league that do such a good job, and we have a really good network of girls, and we have a thread that we talk about, and all the funny things that kind of happen to us, all the experiences that we share, honestly. But there's been a lot of men that have supported me as well, and I think it's a combination of really good women that lift other women up, and it's also been men that understand the importance of valuing women in the industry as well.
So last question. Last question.
I don't know about the holes in the straw, man.
This is not a weird. This is a real one.
Okay.
So you passionate about the Dodgers, passionate about your profession, but you're also passionate about dogs. As everyone that follows Alanna on Instagram, take a moment to tell them about your foundation, Guidry's Guardian, right?
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm very, very passionate about my job. And honestly, this job allows me to do what I do for the dogs. I work for the Dodgers so I can help the Dodger dogs. I have a foundation by the name of Guidry's Guardian Foundation, and basically, long story short, it's a foundation named after my dog Guidry, who I adopted in 2009, who unfortunately passed away in July when we were in Washington. We were in the middle of a game, and I found out. And I strive to raise money. It's 100% donation-based, so I strive to raise money to get dogs out of high-kill shelters, which all LA City County shelters are high-kill, and off of the streets to pay for the medical and whatever they need to get them more adoptable. So unfortunately, there are so many dogs that need homes, and I'm a big rescue and adoption advocate. And if we could really kind of preach spay and neuter to be more on the preventative side, yeah, I love dogs more than people. But that's what Guidry's Guardian Foundation is about trying to save as many dogs as we possibly can.
Well, Alanna, please keep up the good work with that.
Thank
It's
you.
absolutely amazing. And I want to just take a second to say how awesome Alanna is. She's all I've known since I've been in the big leagues, so I don't have anyone to compare her to, but I don't imagine
I'm pretty great. Doesn't
anyone-
matter. Whoever's next, you're
There's
not
no
gonna
way
like
anyone's
them.
any better. We had a meeting the other day, first team meeting. Every person that is remotely associated with the Dodgers is in this meeting, and there's a Alanna Rizzo highlight video because it just highlighted how awesome she was and how just positive she is all the time. On our side, she never puts us in an awkward situation, which can be tough to do sometimes, especially as we've seen this offseason stuff that's gone down. So, Alanna, thank you so much for everything that you do.
My pleasure. You literally are one of my favorite players I've ever covered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up. Kyle, it's your
Next
time.
on the stage,
Yeah.
Kyle Farmer. Your shoulders have to be exhausted. He's been holding the camera up the whole time. Who remembers Kyle Farmer? Everybody. Kyle has got to be a top 3 teammate I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 2.
Thank you.
Can't
Yeah.
just say your
You're
favorite.
my number one.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
I mean,
Uh,
he's doing the
no,
podcast. It's his favorite.
I love him so much that I live with him every spring.
That's
I mean, he's as good of a buddy as you can have off the field and as good of a man as you can have in the locker room. So,
we have the same type of humor.
yeah,
So that's what gets
which
us
is
to-
just being an idiot, really. All right, so who remembers Kyle Farmer's debut? Anybody? All right, run us through it. I don't remember who was on base or what I know it was 2 strikes. The ball was a foot off the plate, and you.
It was borderline. Well, I was golly, I got called up, and it was, I think, 3 days had gone by before I had gotten in that bat, and I was waiting. We were playing the Giants. It was our last game against the Giants. My parents were there. My wife was there. And Doc came up to me and said, hey, you're going to pinch hit for Cody. I think he was in the pitcher spot. Something happened, and I was the last guy on the bench. And Corey hit a double, and I was in the hole hitting behind JT. And I was like, they're going to intentionally walk him because there's one out, and Bochy definitely wanted to see if I can hit a ground ball into a double play. And first pitch was so I step in the batter's box, and my roommate in college, Brett DeLoach, looks identical to Buster Posey. Like, it's weird how identical he looks. And I look back, I say, hey, to Buster, and I'm like, that's Brett. So it kind of lightened the mood a little bit. And here on the loudspeaker, making his major league debut, and that's when I kind of got the goosebumps going. And so the first pitch was a ball, but I called it a strike. It was a slider. Then he threw me welcome to the show. Yeah. 65 on my back. But then 0-2, then I worked the count to 3-2. Then I just got a fastball down the way. I think it was a ball, and I just sliced it down the right field line. And it was so cool because I could actually see the ball. Usually as a right-handed hitter, you never see the ball come off the bat and watch the trajectory of it because you're running. Where a lefty, you can see it go wherever you go. And so I got to see it the whole way, and I was like, holy crap, like I just got a hit. And I hit it, and I was rounding, and I think it was the fastest I've run around second base. And I didn't see Coach Woodward send JT, and all of a sudden I round second base, and I see a sea of white jerseys coming at me, and I'm like, holy crap. Like, I don't know what I just did. And then the next thing I realized, Woody kind of I see Woody just like penguin foot running, just like goofy running towards me, and he tackles me to the ground, and then Puig is just ripping my jersey off, and Cody's like slapping me on the stomach. I still have a scar on my back from the dirt, rubbed me against the dirt. And then, it was so cool seeing like all the coaches and your manager Dave Roberts come out, and they normally don't do that, I think, on a walk-off, but I think I don't know. It was so cool seeing all of them. Turner ran out there, and very emotional moment because there's a long backstory behind that, and it was really cool. And then Baseball Tonight, and it was really weird because I watch SportsCenter all the time, and they had me interview on SportsCenter after the game, and I could see the guy's voice, like I could see who I was talking to through his voice, and I was like, holy crap, man, like, I thought I'd be on SportsCenter. And Kike dumped the water on me and stuff. It was really cool. And then I get in the locker room, and I grew up a huge Chase Utley fan, and Chase came up and gave me a big hug, and I thought that was such a cool moment because I loved watching him play for the Phillies with that great team with Ryan Howard. And then Cody comes up to me in the locker room and was like, dude, your Instagram's blowing up. And I was like, you're trending on Twitter. So my Instagram changed my entire life, I guess. But it was such a cool moment. And then I got to see my fiance at the time, my wife now, Courtney, in the tunnel. That was really cool. And seeing my dad, who has been through it all with me, my mom, my sister, my best friend, it was a really cool moment and something I'll never forget.
Two guys with really good debuts, huh? Ross,
Yeah,
almost no-hitter. Should have been a no-hitter if they kept him in. But you're describing, you're describing basically a bunch of guys being kids, right? Like when
that's
you do
all
that.
it is, yeah.
My wife Tracy always says, like, you guys are children. Like you never grow up, and we don't. We never grow up. So, being around some of you guys, like, it's no different in an MLB locker room at all. And you've had a year to reflect on being traded and everything. Is it the same thing over there? Just a bunch of guys being children?
It is, yeah. It's so different. It's different, but it's the same. You meet new people. The trade was definitely hard for me because I grew up, through the Dodgers organization with Ross and Corey and Cody and all those guys. But it was really cool to meet new people and to get a better realization of the baseball world. I mean, the Reds are great. Dodgers are great as well. But it's so funny seeing, like, how I don't know how to put this, like, I guess a high market team and kind of a medium market team, how different it is, like East Coast, West Coast. I'm an East Coast guy. I grew up in Atlanta, and it's so much closer to home for me, and it was so cool playing over there because you have like kind of the southern kind of Southern people over there, which I grew up around, and love the West Coast, love the people on the West Coast as well. It's just different. But like going back to your question about the locker room, it's all the same. People are the same jokes. Like like our pitching coach, DJ, says the same joke he always says. And the first day, and I was like, holy moly, this is amazing. Like I fit in right. It was really cool. But every baseball player is the same. Like, we're all just kids playing a kid's game, and I think that's the best way to play the game.
Going back to Farmer's debut, so when I was in the bullpen at the time, and the only time you run out of the bullpen on a walk-off is like Charlie Culberson when he walked it off to win the division. We all ran out of the bullpen. Normally you just like shake hands in the bullpen, go back through the tunnel, and you'll see the guys in the locker room. Kyle walks it off, and I'm just like, ah, and I run out on the field, and I get like halfway through the outfield, and I realize no one's with me. Because that's just not what you do. And I'm just sprinting in there.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That is funny.
But nobody
That's
remembers
perfect.
that, you know, because that's what you did, so it was perfect.
I'm gonna get a video of that. Just you by yourself, Forrest Gump running.
Yeah, we've all seen that.
It's like Ross running the bases. Everyone remembers that. One of the best moments. Yeah.
You feel the number one.
They don't let me do that anymore. I don't know why.
Yeah, you're the speed guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because we had Yaz, and Yaz was so slow.
Yeah. That's gotta be tough.
Yeah.
That's really tough.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about your dog. We were playing cornhole yesterday, beanbags, and every time we would throw the bag would land on the board. The dog would pick it up and run with it. And so like we couldn't keep track of score, but it was like the funniest thing. But I'm a dog lover. I have my own dog. Alanna, obviously a dog lover. Tell us about your dog.
Yeah, Hamilton. He's a French bulldog. He's almost 4. He's blue brindle. He's got a mind of his own and a personality.
Lights up like it's a kid. I love it.
Yeah. I mean,
he is the funniest dog.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Like we'll be sitting on the couch watching a TV show on Netflix, and all of a sudden you'll hear like a, and like he'll like turn around, like he can't turn his neck because he like turns his shoulders and kind of like he looks at you. I guess to see if you're laughing.
He's a mess, man.
Yeah, and
in the best way.
His best trick is if you ask him for a kiss, he'll come up and give you a kiss. And Ross won't let him kiss him yet. I think it's a relationship thing. You know, they're not there yet.
It's a trust thing. Yeah.
They haven't reached first base, so I think we're working on it.
Yeah.
But he's awesome. He's awesome. But my wife Courtney I think she plans on volunteering at the dog shelter in Cincinnati this year, she signed up for it last year. And we do. We're part of the Georgia Bulldog Rescue. We had an English Bulldog, and he passed away last year. Was it last year? 2 years ago? 2 years ago. And yeah, I mean, I went to Georgia, so I'm a huge Bulldog fan. And we had Jackson, English Bulldog. He passed away, but like Alanna said, the dogs, you know, you got to take care of them. Like there's so many Bulldogs out there that don't really. They're medically, they don't have good. They're terrible. Allergies and stuff, skin disease, but you know we're working on it, so it's really really cool.
Does anybody have a question for Kyle Farmer? Anybody? Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's a great question.
So I was catching.
Oh, I got one.
Yeah. So they brought it back up into play. Like we had forgotten about it. Everybody kind of gave truce, and then a pitcher came in and threw over Dietrich's head. Like at 98, like buzzed his tower, and we were like, "What the heck?" You know, like you can't do that. And then I'm catching, and Jared Hughes hits Marte, just you know, whatever. And then Amir comes in, and he gives up a home run, and we're on our third manager that day. So David Bell got thrown out, Freddie got thrown out, and then Jeff Pickler, who was with the Dodgers, he's with us now as our bench coach or whatever analytical coach, and he comes out and he looks like he's just scared out of his mind. Like, and Amir's like he's like pointing over to the dugout, the Pirates dugout. He's like, "Hold on a second." I'm like, "What is he talking about?" And so he comes over and he's like, "I'm gonna go get him." He used different language, but he was like, "I'm gonna go get him." I'm like, "No, you're not. Like just give me the ball and go to the dugout." He's like, "No, I'm going to get him." So I look over and he starts sprinting, and usually baseball players are big talkers, right? Like they don't normally throw a punch or anything like that. It's just kind of whatever. And Amir is not the case. I saw him sprint, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's going over there!" And then I think Trevor Williams on the Pirates jumped over the rail, and Amir came in full haymaker, just lefty, boom. He missed him, And then
You built that up like it was gonna be really good.
it gets better. He goes like boom, whiff, and then Chris Archer comes in and he gets demolished. Like, there's a picture of Archer like on his back like a dog, kind of like this. Felt kind of bad for him, but I had my mask on. I wasn't going to get, And then Puig gets involved. He was traded at the time.
Yeah.
And he was still, like, I guess, wrestling around. And holding him back is like holding, like,
Possible.
20 horses back. Joey Votto, who's really, really strong, like extremely strong, close to Puig strong, was holding him back. And, like, you could see, I think, more muscles than I've ever seen someone have, like, in his arms and Puig. And if anybody follows John Boy on Instagram, he does a perfect, like, whatever of it. It's so funny. But going through my mind, I was really worried about it could have gotten out of hand because we had fought with those guys twice before, and but I didn't realize that the Pirates and Reds had such a big rivalry going back a long ways, and who knows what'll happen this year? I mean. Who knows? We led the team and we led the league in fights, I guess. That's one thing.
All right. Anybody else? Kyle Farmer.
Anything.
All right. Kyle, thank you so much.
Thanks
man.
for having
Appreciate
me.
you taking the time. Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to quickly, though, just give a shout out to Dodger Blue, Dodger Nation. They've been so supportive of us the whole time. The Swingers, y'all have been amazing, too. So we didn't expect any of this. So y'all coming out, waiting outside, just overwhelming. So it's awesome.
We would like to open it up to questions. You can come up and talk into the mic if you'd like, or you can scream it out, whatever you guys want to do. You guys hopefully have some stuff planned and ready to ask or ready to answer.
I talked to a couple people on Instagram. If I talk to you, just come up here. Anyone? A few people. Come on up here. Yeah, coming down. Give her a round of applause. I'm going to turn that mic.
Yeah, I don't know
if you
it
can
might be
turn
too
it.
tall. You want to sit up here?
Come on. You got it.
Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So I guess, when did you know that you were going to make the majors? I have a younger brother who's a sophomore playing on varsity and stuff, and, I guess, what should he expect? What would be your advice to a high school student?
Right. Great question. Hard hitter right off the bat. I was just hoping to answer, my favorite color or something. No, I'm just kidding. Man, when people ask me this, I always just say, have fun. And I know it's such a lame answer, but play as hard as you can and have fun and good things happen. I was kind of a late bloomer. I didn't even expect to play college baseball. And then I got drafted as a junior and didn't even know it. It was kind of crazy. And then really never thought I was going to make it to the big leagues even as I was just kind of grinding through and I'm in spring training. And I get a call that says, come to LA. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And what does that mean? And because everyone's saying Zach Lee's the fifth starter. We had another guy, Carlos Frias, is the fifth starter. And I was like, I'd already been optioned. Sorry, I'm totally rambling here. But my advice would be, don't take it so serious that you get burnt out because it's meant to be fun. Play it with your friends. Don't play it for the seriousness. I don't know, Kyle might kind of agree. I didn't really play travel ball. I played everything. I played football, basketball, baseball. I played tennis. I tried lacrosse. I just tried everything and tried to do what I was passionate about and what I had fun playing, and it ended up being baseball. And obviously very thankful for it. I don't know, Kyle, would you kind of agree? Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out and you're like me, just start a podcast.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for coming
Yeah,
out.
thank you.
Anyone else?
Oh, she had a chicken strip shirt on. I didn't even notice.
Nice.
Hi. So my question is, how do you feel about the designated hair and the possibility of it coming to the NL?
You want to do it? I'll do it too.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the last thing I want to do is sit there and watch Ross hit. No offense.
I think I'd give the people a show.
What's the batting average? Do you know?
No, you don't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah, you know it? What is it?
Career 093.
Oh man, I gotta get that in the ones.
No, but I think people are there to watch people swing a bat that are swinging a bat every single day. And if you can get more people like that out there, Big Papi, watching him come in DH is a blast. So I'd like it everywhere.
I like the parity it creates, between the National League and the American League and how it makes them different. And I think there's a lot more strategy in the National League. The American League is very much, I'm going to run my guys out there, they're going to play 9 innings, and that's the way it is. Versus guys like Kike Hernandez, Chris Taylor, Kyle Farmer, who have very successful careers because they can play multiple positions and pinch hit, and in different scenarios hit righties and lefties. And so I like that, and I also really like pitching to the pitcher. It's almost a free out, and you only get 27, so if you get 2 or 3 free ones in there, that's a big deal as a pitcher. So I like it. I understand that guys have gotten hurt. Jimmy Nelson, our new teammate, got hurt sliding and basically missed 2 years of his career because of it. So it definitely has its examples of being detrimental to careers, but in general, I kind of enjoy it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Someone's got to have a hard-hitting question.
That was a pretty hard hitter.
Yeah.
It's not hard hitting.
Okay. Yeah.
Who has the strangest pregame ritual?
Oof.
Who has to name names?
No, you gotta name names. Kersh's is very interesting because he gets so intense. And since he's had his kids, it's mellowed out a bit. But it's like, don't look at him. Don't even say good morning. Now you can say good morning, but for a while you couldn't. It's just crazy the assassin mode that he goes in. The craziest one I ever saw was Max Scherzer. So I was at the All-Star game, and Max Scherzer was starting the All-Star game. And I'd heard a little bit about it, but he was eating pizza, kind of BSing with the guys, having a good time leading up, and then let's say 30 minutes before he goes outside, he lays his jersey out perfectly, like hat, undershirt, jersey, belt, pants, socks, shoes, lays it there. And then he puts on headphones, but you can hear what's coming through, and it's screamo, rock music, And he's just sitting there and you're looking at him, he looks like he's gonna explode, and we're just staring at him, And I had heard, because Seager made the All-Star game before, he was like, hey, don't ask Scherzer for a high five before the game.
Of course you did.
I'm obviously gonna ask him for a high five before this game. And so he's coming in, and I'm going to the bullpen, and I'm 50 yards away, and I'm getting close to him, how am I gonna do it? Yeah, set it up. Yeah, Max, have a good one. And he this kind of thing, goes by me, goes, no dabs before the game. No, that's a dab. No dabs before the game. And I was like, yes.
I needed that.
Yeah, it lived up to the hype.
You're like a 5th grader that's don't touch that. They're going to touch it. Yeah, you had to go for it.
Well, it's just funny, the total paradox, right, between Kershaw, who wakes up an assassin, and Scherzer, who gets there 10 minutes before he has to, and then they get to the same spot. It's cool to see how people differ.
Well, and Ross has always talked about how he's the exact opposite. He's happy-go-lucky before the game, talking to everyone. So it's always weird, the approaches of different people. What are you like, Kyle?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I'll be
Bueller.
and just do whatever.
Bueller's the opposite too. Bueller will play cards, and it's really just about wasting time. It's time goes by so slow on your start day when you're trying. You wake up at 9 in the morning, you're not pitching for 10 hours. How do you make time go by? So it's really, each person's different. How do you handle stress? We all handle stress in a different way. You got adrenaline coursing through your body. How do you pass that time?
Can you imagine Kershaw doing that 162 times?
Yeah.
Different players are different.
Yeah, right,
They have
right.
to be
Yeah. Kyle said, if Kershaw had to start 162 games like a Bellinger, you can't be like that. But since Kershaw locks it in for 30, 33 times, it's a little bit easier than to just wear yourself down 162 times.
Well, anything else?
Ooh, yes.
What is your favorite color?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Finally. That's the best question on that. I love it.
Pantone 294.
Classic pander.
Yeah, honestly, I wear a ton of blue. You go in my closet. That's another thing when I thought I got traded to the Angels. Me and my wife are both we don't own a single red thing. Not one red thing. My closet's all blue.
We actually said that too. I was like, I have 15 Dodgers related things now from Ross, and what am I going to do with all of these? But I'd say mine's blue, but boring me would say it's gray. If you look in my closet, I have probably 75% gray t-shirts. So that's the number for me.
All right, guys. This was a ton of fun. Did y'all have fun? Yeah. I enjoyed it. Thank y'all so much.
Y'all want to come up and say hi, take a picture, hang out?